Hello and welcome to another Andy's Chomping at the Bit, brought to you by Big Andy Media, the official sponsor of every Andy's Chomping at the Bit. So today, yesterday was Halloween, so why not have one on Halloween today, just to go over it? Okay. Uh, and this is gonna be a lot lighter of an episode. It's gonna be shorter too, but it's a fun one for me. I think. We'll see how it goes. Um, First thing I want to bring up though when I think of Halloween, I think of the costumes. And and the reason I think of that is because, well, I'm a big fan of Lewis Black, the comedian. Uh, I believe it's in his Anticipation album. He covers Halloween as maybe it was his Carnegie performance, but he talks about costumes and adults wearing costumes. And I have to agree with him on it in a sense because he mentions, as an adult, you don't have to wear a costume on Halloween because we're adults. We can wear a costume whenever we want, and there's some truth to that. I mean, not to go as far as getting it too carried away, but I can attest to that you don't have to dress. I mean, you don't. It doesn't have to be Halloween if you want to dress up. In fact, right here's an example. So yeah, this is me this year, September 7th. Yeah, September 7th. So that was how I was dressed. Why was I dressed like that? Why did I decide to dress like a superhero while driving a antique tractor across the Mackinac Bridge? Well, the Mackinac Bridge part and the tractor was it was a scheduled thing already, as far as once a year they allow antique tractors to cross. So it's a big event. Uh, but it was kind of more of a spur of the moment with the whole creating a superhero costume, and some of you once again will be like asking why. Because I can. That's why. That's the beautiful thing about being an adult. You don't have to wait for Halloween to dress up. Um, I wouldn't recommend doing it every day. I mean, it can cause, depending on your job, it could cause problems. Fortunately, it doesn't for mine. Um, and and really, I was doing it more than just for the heck of it. It was my way of celebrating 2 years clean and sober. So I figured I'd have fun with it. And you don't have to be drunk or high to have fun or to do the crazy shenanigans that are safe as far as when people are partying. Um, a lot of people think that you have to get tanked or you have to get high in order to let loose and have fun. But you don't. No, you can do that sober. The only difference is you're a little more rational on where that boundary line is. Where is too far, going too far. So, so yeah, that was me dressed up as as a superhero, I guess, uh, on a random day. That being said, I mean, I dressed up on Halloween as well. This year I dressed up essentially like my dad, but from 1988. That was a fun one. Uh, but you don't need, as an adult, you don't necessarily need the permission to to do that. You just do it. So, um, yeah. So that's on the costumes as far as an adult when you can do it. Um, and I do want to say that I don't know. Maybe I'm off on this, but I remember costumes at one point, probably late high school, I'd say early early college, where everything was less appropriate, I guess you could say. Um, Yesterday I spoke at Pentwater Public School, and their student body looked a lot more appropriately. dressed as far as their costumes than I ever remember. Um, Back in the early 2000s when I was at Mona Shores. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just really good school policy there, or they do a really good job enforcing, uh, or maybe it's just the community. I'm not sure, but I recall that the costumes were a lot raunchier. Um, just 10, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, than they are today. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just not very observant. Um, the other thing I want to get on at Halloween is a really cool idea, and I first saw it when I was in Sault Ste. Marie, when I was in treatment. Is this trend, trunk or treating? And essentially, it's a bunch of people. Uh, everyone parks in the parking lot, in a big, either in a U or a circle, whatever, uh, or in a line, and with your tailgate facing the same direction, and you open up the tailgate and you decorate it, and you have candy there for the kids. And so instead of them going door to door trick or treating, their parents can take them to this specific area, um, or however they want to get them there, uh, and they go trunk to trunk instead, or car to car, however you want to phrase it, uh, trick or treating instead. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool. It's really good for smaller communities, but I think it'd be good for even larger communities as well, because you don't have to. I mean, you have less kids running around. They're less likely to get injured from a car or stumbling around when it's darker. Uh, it's in a much more controlled environment, uh, and this year, I was with my parents hoping I'd be passing out candy. But we had literally two. We had two trick or treaters. We had our lights on the whole time, decked out the lights with a good old flashy um, Halloween light routine. So, you know, made it appealing as far as the house itself. But, just not a lot of kids come out trick or treating because we're not in the city limits. And I guess maybe kids don't go trick or treating as much as they used to, but I think they do. I think it's just maybe our neighborhood, and we have it's a bit of a walk for our driveway, so that doesn't help either. But trunk or treating is a really cool concept. I believe they have it now here as well, and either in Ludington or Mason County. But like I said, I first heard about it and was able to partake in those events in Sault Ste. Marie, and so it's a really cool concept. I love it, actually. Uh, so now I want to get into one of the things that, reflecting back when I was a kid and young adult, that weren't as good parts of Halloween, and that would be, put it simply, the vandalism side of things. Or back then I loved to call them pranks. Let's be realistic. If you are smashing pumpkins, or you know putting shaving cream on someone's car, which doesn't sound that bad until you realize that shaving cream will actually destroy the paint, um, if it's on there too long. Things like that. I always, I didn't think about it too much as a kid. Like I said, even as a young adult. But it really takes the fun out of Halloween for everyone else. And it's amazing how quick, after you grow out of that, how quick the script flips and you forget all about how you went at other people for that, be doing the exact same thing you used to do occasionally. Um, and so sometimes I have to pump the brakes and be like, wait a minute. That kid did it. That was a jerk move, but I did that too. Doesn't make it right, doesn't justify it, but it helps me from overreacting when I can put it into perspective. Um, and that, I guess that's another beautiful thing about the whole trunk or treating is with everything controlled right there, and you're decorating uh, the vehicles. I feel that you'd get less of that kind of smashing pumpkins, vandalizing behavior. Could be wrong, but at least from my personal experience, when I was the culprit behind some of those, I usually when I smashed a pumpkin, it was because that house didn't give me candy when I went trick or treating. And really, I mean, I think most of those would have been well justified not giving me candy. I'm pretty sure I went trick or treating even when I was like 19, 20 years old. So by all means, they didn't have to give me candy. I was just, I was just kind of a jerk on it. I didn't really have the maturity that I needed to have. Um, and I'm darn lucky I didn't get in real trouble for that. But that's definitely one of the negative sides, the pranks, some of the crazy rituals some people have that I would argue at least on the unhealthy side of traditions. And I know there's a lot of people also that don't like Halloween. Um, some people don't for some people don't for religious purposes, or they don't like the origins of Halloween. And I just want to say this: this goes beyond Halloween. Okay, I'm going to address this again um, in December when I do. I'm going to do one on Christmas later on, and so you don't have to necessarily believe. This is my opinion. You don't have to believe in Halloween or a holiday, or as far as the origins of it, to still embrace it and enjoy it. Like you can simply enjoy certain aspects of it. So for Halloween, trick or treating, getting to pretend and have fun, use your imagination, be something that might not be possible in real life. That's a cool idea, very creative. Um, and then designing these ideas, creating these costumes, these characters. It's a lot of fun. It's I think it's a it can really unite people. I guess that's the easiest way to put it. In a time where everything's so polar and divided, having fun, dressing up, pretending. It's kind of a breather, a break from the insanity, the chaos, the madness that's sometimes going on out there. Um, and then the candy itself, getting, even though trick or treat, it's not necessarily a please or thank you. It's just the traditional words, and it's fun. Getting to see these kids with these different costumes. Obviously, like I said, it wasn't much of a uh, crowd as far as tonight where my parents are, but when I lived in Muskegon area, Norton Shores, you couldn't go more than a couple feet from the door because there was enough kids coming through the neighborhood trick or treating, and so you'd see all these really neat costumes, and there's a lot of kids that their faces would light up when they trick or treat. That's a neat experience, giving candy away, and you know it's a fun moment, both as a kid and as an adult, getting to pass it out. Uh, so that's my take on it. You don't have to like the actual holiday, the meaning behind a holiday necessarily, or the origins of the holiday. You can simply enjoy it for certain aspects. Some of the friendly and fun traditions that exist within the holiday. Like I said, I'm going to go into that more for when I do one on Christmas, because obviously there's a lot of things within Christmas that aren't necessarily based on um, you know the religious origins of it, and even some of them that are, that you don't necessarily have to have that belief to embrace. So, but that's going to be another show altogether. This is Halloween. And that's basically the summary of it. You know, there's some downsides with it with every holiday, but there's a lot of good too they can embrace, and you know, it's really, how do I put it? It's a lot more fun when you're looking to find the things to enjoy than when you're looking for the things to complain about. So I'll leave it at that as far as that goes. But that's today's Andy's Chomping at the Bit episode. Um, Also, I want to take the time while I'm thinking about it to mention we've got Singing for a Cause coming up here on Sunday. So it's the first and third Sunday of every month. Uh, I'm thinking as right now, unless something changes later today, there is a good chance that November and January will be what I call, they won't have necessarily a spotlight charity. They're going to be charitable cause. And so it's a much more vague, it's a more vague as far as the spotlight. It doesn't focus on a particular charity. It might mention certain charities and resources out there, but no one in particular. And so any money or funding that occurs during that time will, there's two options I haven't said yet, and you guys can vote in later. I'll go more in detail later on this, but it'll be the option where you can, um, either the money will be divided amongst the spotlight charities within that year, at the end. So I'm going to have it reset every September. That's going to be a new series year essentially. So at that point, it can either be divided equally amongst the spotlight charities, or I'll have it where we'll have the spotlight charities, and I'll have an event where have them all in a jar and simply poll to see which charity gets that bonus or jackpot, however you want to put it, bit of funding. And so, like I said, for sure it's going to happen in January. It's probably going to happen, most likely it's going to happen here in November as well. Um, and there's going to be some contests that go along with that to build that up a little bit. We're going to have some fun with some of the things, and I'm going to address those also either later today or this weekend. So a lot of cool stuff coming up. Like I said, Singing for a Cause, that's a fun one. And on those times, at least for January, it'll probably be, because I'm going to be on vacation during that time. So when I am not able to make it, I will have a pre-recorded show that will air at that time, which is great because that way if I get sick, I'll still have something to go on the first and third of the month, or Sunday of the month. So, yep. So with that being said, have a great remainder of your Friday. I hope you guys had a great Halloween, and I hope you have a tremendous weekend. Like I said, Sunday is Singing for a Cause. Take care.